Welcome back to another episode GW. I'm Matthew Cox, and this is GWeek from home. In India's state of Uttar Pradesh, on Tuesday, September 29th, two young women, in unrelated incidents, died after being gang raped. The news of these horrific events sparked protests in many major cities, including New Delhi, Mumbai, and Calcutta. Demonstrators gathered outside the hospitals where one of the women died, and many were arrested for violating pandemic restrictions. The Indian government announced that they will be fast-tracking the cases to ensure that proper justice is served. Now that classes have been back in session for over a month, the limited student population living on campus has had time to adjust to the reality of college life in a pandemic. GWeek wanted to gain some insight on how students feel about GW testing and about how the pandemic has affected the college experience. We interviewed Abby Angolia, a sophomore living in GW housing, to see how she's adjusting. Alina Fayaz has the story.
With school having started over a month ago, GW students living on campus have had time to adjust and settle into life as a college student during a pandemic. GW has taken many precautions for those living on campus. For example, students living in on-campus housing had to follow the 2-week quarantine if they were coming from a hot state, as per the Phase 2 DC government regulations. Students who were not coming from a hot state only had to quarantine until they received 2 negative COVID test results. To ensure a safe semester, the university has implemented a number of guidelines for the on-campus student population to follow. These changes have undoubtedly caused a major disruption in normal student life at GW. To see how the student body is staying safe and adjusting to this new normal that we live in, we spoke with sophomore Abby Angolia.
Day in the life on campus currently, I usually wake up around 9:30 and I'll make breakfast right before class. Mondays and Wednesdays, my first classes are recorded, so I just stay in pajamas and stuff. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I get ready and put on clothes and get presentable because I don't leave my room too often on days where I have a lot of online classes. It's also kind of hard to study and do work anywhere else but your room because so Gelman is really by reservation, and the Marvin Center is pretty much closed. The only places I really could find to study is places outside in Kogan and stuff. The GW COVID guidelines, currently I get tested once a week for COVID. They had it at Smith Center and now it has moved to Shankman, in the basement of Shankman. I think that I feel pretty safe because in general, the cases are a lot lower here than they were where I'm from. So I'm not super concerned. I do feel at least the people who are living on campus are following the rules. Everyone's wearing a mask, everyone's social distancing. GW's implemented at first, at least within the first month, district had a designated entrance and a designated exit, just to keep the flow of everything going. For testing, you get in line and they have a barcode that you get sent on your email after you make the appointment, and they scan it there and they ask for your name and date of when you were born. They hand you the test tube in a hazard safe bag, and then you get put into a curtained off room, and then a nurse comes in, fully mask, shield, gloves, and then you just pull your mask down below your nose, and then they put the swab in both of your noses, then you're right on out. It takes 5 minutes, the whole process. And then to get your results, it takes about 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. I think it depends on how many people have been tested in that time and how many tests they're dealing with. But it's relatively quick and really easy to get testing done.
GW is paired with the Medical Facility Associates to offer free testing to all students Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. in Shankman Hall. Of course, students please continue to wear a mask, maintain 6 feet of distance between members of the community, and avoid large gatherings when possible. With GWeek, I'm Alina Fayaz.
Thanks, Alina. The first presidential debate of the election season took place on Tuesday, September 29th. The debate, which was dubbed by many media outlets as, quote, the worst debate in history, saw President Trump and Joe Biden shouting over each other, with Trump constantly ignoring the rules set forth by the debate commission and interrupting Biden's speaking time. two moments that have received considerable media attention and scrutiny were President Trump's refusing to directly condemn white supremacy and Trump sowing distrust in the upcoming election. Additionally, former Vice President Joe Biden called President Trump, quote, a clown. President Donald Trump announced in a tweet on Friday, October 2nd at 1 a.m., that he and his wife Melania have both contracted cases of the coronavirus after exposure to close advisor Hope Hicks, who had also tested positive. Both are planning on residing in the White House as they quarantine, and this news has led the president to step back from the campaign only 32 days before the election. It is still unclear whether Trump was infected at the time of the presidential debate on Tuesday, and Vice President Mike Pence announced later that morning that himself and Karen Pence, his wife, both tested negative. DC restaurants are preparing for the colder weather and what that might bring for business. Shortly after reopening outdoor spaces, some restaurants are anticipating much lower service, as many are still concerned about eating indoors. Many restaurants are prepared for the wave of closures as the winter months approach and are exploring more innovative outdoor dining options. That's all we have this week. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to check us out at GW-TV.com or on Instagram at GWeek News.